Welcome back to episode six of the Rooted in Ag podcast. I'm here with Madison. Madison, how are you doing?
I'm doing so good. I am so excited to be here right now. How are you?
I'm pumped. I'm ecstatic. I'm other adjectives that are good. So all of the above, basically. You have a question sent in. It's what's your favorite FFA activity? I'll let you go first.
My favorite FFA activity, so I'm sort of basing that on like my favorite FFA event, is definitely the Institute for Future Agriculture Leaders. I was blessed to attend the University of Kentucky over this summer, and I just met so many outstanding individuals, and I was able to grow as a person, grow as a leader in the agricultural industry, and that is just the best activity. The week was full of activities, but as a whole, it's just the best activity for agricultural leaders to be a part of. So, what's your favorite activity?
Well, I was going to say Eiffel like you, but I'll say something else, I guess. We were both at the same Eiffel. If you're a junior right now, please apply for Eiffel. You'll love it. I'd say I'll go competition route. I'll say parliamentary procedure because it's one of those rare FFA activities where it's not a one and done and it's a team event, big team event. So it's kind of like a sports team where, your seniors leave, but you usually have returners. And so you kind of grow as a family. And so it's like a family within the family because FFA is already a family, if that makes sense. So that's my favorite. Our guest should only have to give one description. Everybody should know who he is. He is the current Kentucky Commissioner of Agriculture, Mr. Jonathan Shell. How are you?
I am doing great, guys. Thank you so much for having me on the Rooted in Ag program. Do I get to answer the question too?
Yes,
Absolutely.
go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, I think my favorite one that I've been to now is, and it's not just a specific FFA, but the UK Ag Day that they have there at
Mhm.
Commonwealth Stadium. Whenever we did, man, that was so cool getting to be able to do that. And I tell you, another one is all these Ag Tag photos that I get to take across the state. Being able to bring in those officers and those members of the FFAs all across the state of Kentucky, and getting to talk to them one on one and be with them, that is another one of my favorite FFA activities. But I like both of your alls too. I never did Eiffel, never did that. I wished I had, but parliamentary procedure was my favorite, and then also competed in impromptu speaking in a couple of different areas and that kind of stuff. So it's, I mean, really, is there a bad FFA activity?
Exactly. You talked about ag tags. We were just at the Kentucky State Fair not too long ago where you presented the Kentucky FFA and 4-H with checks from the ag tag money. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah,
Because you
they
had a
were
lot to say.
historic
It was really
checks.
exciting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, it was exciting for me too. It was historic. We had the highest number that we've ever had, $930,000 total raised, almost $1 million, and that split up three ways between Kentucky Proud, FFA, and 4-H. And the cool thing about it is we had the largest year to year increase, $195,000 over the last year. And so not only did
That's
we break a
awesome.
record in how much, but we also broke a record in how much we raised in a single year over the last year. So now, in working with the FFA Foundation, the 4-H Foundation, and our office and our county clerks across the state, we're on a road to $1 million. That's what we want to do, is break $1 million this next year for the Ag Tag program. Because the great thing about that is all these proceeds go to kids across the state of Kentucky, young adults and kids who are trying to make a difference in their communities and who are trying to be leaders throughout the state of Kentucky. And so these ag tag dollars, that $10 that goes on these farm plates is not going to mean much to the person paying it. I mean, if we're going to be honest, I spend that at a gas station probably twice a day. It's ridiculous how much stuff costs. But for somebody who doesn't come from maybe the best of circumstances, or someone who is just trying to figure out what they want to do in high school, maybe they're a kid wanting to do a project through 4-H, that $10 that somebody gives could make a huge difference in their life. And so it's exciting. And man, I tell you, the energy that you all brought at State Fair whenever we announced that was amazing for me too. I just feed off of you all. That's what gives me the pump in the morning, is just you all across the state whenever I get to talk to you. I was so excited because I knew this was happening today. Matthew, Madison, I can't tell you how excited I was when waking up this morning.
Man, I saw you at CPC Field Day, and I got to talk to you a little bit in person before this happened. And you walked by, and one of my friends goes, "Matthew, there's the commissioner. Don't you know him? Isn't he going to be on your podcast or something?" And I was like, "I don't know him, but I'll go try to talk to him." And so, you're just a role model for all the kids across the state.
You tell him
And
you know me now, but I tell you, we would be better friends if you hadn't beat me in the judging contest there. I
I'm
mean, we were
sorry. I
placing the
know you beat
animals
me in the
together.
bulls.
I
The
did beat him in the
bulls,
bulls. I got him in the
you
bulls.
you, you smoked me in that.
I just feel like there's so much to unpack with your life and with the agricultural journey. So, if you want to sort of explain where you got started, where your passion started, and also like who is fueling your fire other than us, like who got you started?
Yeah, so really, I think that my FFA experience, my high school experience, my life where I was whenever I was your all's age is more like some of more of your less performing ag students that you all have got. And what I mean by that is I didn't care much about FFA whenever I was in it at the time. First starting out, it was just something that I was doing to kind of get out of class. I farmed full time for a living. Even whenever I was in high school, I was farming every day. I'd leave school and I'd go to the farm. I'd try to, do as much farming as I could during school hours too. If I had the opportunity, that's what I was doing. We have a greenhouse operation, so my local FFA teacher allowed me to kind of help him run the greenhouse that we had there in Garrett County. And so, I wasn't the best at keeping myself disciplined at that point in time in my life. Had a lot of behavioral stuff. I was just bored. I did well in school. I got straight A's and I went through all the AP classes, all that kind of stuff. But I just got bored. So FFA and the ag classes were kind of my outlet to be able to goof off. And so I was just goofing off until about junior year, and then my ag teacher, Ken Parsons, who's now retired, still one of my best friends. I talked to him this morning. I talked to him nearly 3-4 times a week. You all will understand that whenever you all get out, you'll still communicate and talk to your ag teachers for the rest of your life. I mean, it's different than other teacher scenarios. But he saw the path that I was going down, and he sat me down one day on a bench at the school and just said, "Look, you're a smart kid. You're doing good on your grades, but you're going down a path that you shouldn't. You need to buckle down, get serious about where you are, and really start trying to put the effort in to what you're doing." And that changed my life. Just that one scenario, that one instance, completely changed my trajectory in my life. And then I became an FFA officer. I actually competed and won state star in placement in 2006. And it was a great journey for me after that. We went pretty far in parliamentary procedure with our team and all the things. And so I guess with some of the listeners that you all have, my point to them would be, maybe you're not the rising star right now that you want to be. Maybe you're a green hand and you're a freshman or you're a sophomore and you just feel like you've not got it. You don't know if you'll ever be as good as Matthew or Madison. You'll never be as good as, insert the name. I had those names in my high school. I didn't know if I'd ever be good enough to be there. But because I put the effort in and I put the discipline in my life and I started putting the work in, I started enjoying it and seeing what FFA truly could do for my life. And it changed everything for me.
I love your
Yeah,
story. That's awesome.
absolutely agree because there is some kids that just don't have that foundation right off the start, so it is sort of hard to get going. But I think that you're going to be an asset to our listeners for them to remember that times get tough and you have trials and everything may not work out for you in the beginning, but if you get yourself on that path and you work hard, you can get it.
Madison, something else about FFA and especially the ag departments and ag teachers across the state is, a lot of times kids find themselves there that are not in agriculture and maybe they are having discipline issues. I mean, we all know and see this that happen. They kind of get stuck in there in certain schools in certain areas because it is something that's more hands-on. You get to work with your hands. Students like I was that was a little bit bored with schoolwork and maybe a little bit more behaviorally challenged because I was bored in the classroom. You can put them in an FFA or a 4-H class or a ag class that's in the school and get that hands-on, get them motivated, get them working and moving during the day. And it's untelling what a difference they can make in their life. And so I think that the ag classes that we have are so important for that reason. And we're trying now to really put a focus beyond just high school ag to where we're looking at middle schools and elementary schools, getting these kids really early with ag education so that we have almost it's like Little League. If you've got a Little League sports in your county that's good, you usually have a good high school team too. And so building those kids up as we go and getting them interested in agriculture, that's something that we're really trying to focus on right now at the department.
That's really important. We try to do a lot of middle school collaborations. Then we go down to the elementary school a lot in our county. That's just trying to, stir up some excitement about FFA. You
Yeah.
talked about how, you grew up a farmer. You're still a farmer. We see you post on your Instagram about pumpkins and stuff. Aside from pumpkin picking, what else do you do outside of office?
Yeah, so our farming operation, I'll tell you what it looks like. We run several hundred head of cattle a year on background heifers is what we do, and then we've got a couple hundred mama cows and calves that we run through. And so beef cattle is our main operation that we have on the farm, and then we raise corn for silage to feed them, and then hay as well. And then we've got about 2 acres under roof and greenhouse that we do hanging baskets and bedding plants, pretty flowers that you put out in front of your house, and then about I don't know, this is my 4th year, I got in the pumpkin business, and it's my favorite business I've ever been in. I absolutely love it. I actually have 2 bins of pumpkins on the back of my truck right now. I was making deliveries on the way up here to Frankfurt today to be at the office. And so the grind never ends. You're always doing something. But outside of work, I do golf a little bit. I'm terrible at it, Madison. So don't think if I'm on your scramble team that we're going to win. I'm terrible at it. But then also I exercise quite a bit. I like running 5Ks and Spartan races and Tough Mudders and that kind of stuff. So me and a couple of my buddies, we always get together and try to do some workouts. You all know what the Murph is. So it's an exercise that you can do. It's these workout of the days. It's like hero workouts. So soldiers who pass away, die overseas, they commit these workouts for them. And so me and a couple of buddies do the Murph every year. And then since we're close to 9/11, we will be doing the 9/11 stairs this week, where you walk up 2,143 sets of stairs and down them. You walk up and down 2,143 times, I think. We're going to try and do that with 70 pounds on us. But, those are the kind of things, Madison, you asked, what do I do in my spare time and my off time? I don't like to call it spare time and off time or free time because I love everything that I do. And so even in being ag commissioner, being a farmer, the working out, the kids, the homework that we have to do, all the things in my life, I love doing it. And so I don't really consider when I have free time to be free time because I want to put that discipline in my life. And that's one thing that I would love if nobody gets anything else out of this podcast and the conversation that we're going to have, it's that find a way to build discipline in your life on the things that you're doing, because showing up, being there, being prepared, having the discipline to do the things that you don't want to do when you don't want to do them is what's going to make you successful in life. Because I'll just tell you, I'm not the most smart person that you're ever going to meet. I'm not the most talented person that you're going to meet. I have very few things that people would look at and be jealous about in my life just from a natural gifted ability. But I work hard. I put discipline in my life to be able to have the things that I want. And that's if there was one thing that I wanted the kids that are going to be listening to this and young adults to get out of this podcast, it would be try to find a way to put the discipline in your life.
I love how humble you are talking about that. But you don't give yourself enough credit. You are awesome, and you're a voice for Kentucky agriculture. And when I think of a voice that I would want for Kentucky agriculture, it's someone who's still connected to the farm and still does the farm. And seeing that you're able to balance being in Frankfurt and doing that is really admirable. And that's crazy that you're delivering pumpkins on your way to work. I couldn't imagine the commissioner of ag just dropping me off pumpkins while he's on his way to Frankfurt. That's awesome.
Yeah, I was in Moorhead yesterday. We were doing an Ag is Economic Development meeting, and whenever I got back from Moorhead, went to the farm and started picking and loading up pumpkins and got a load ready. Dad's going to be taking it out today, and I had to bring some to Versailles. And then it's every day trying to do something with it. You can't never have enough time to get what you need to get done. And I just tell people they got to understand I still got to make a living too, and provide for the people that work for me and the farm and keep it up. So it is a balancing act. Usually 1 or 2 days a week, I try to build out some type of area to where that I can still perform the duties that I have to on the farm. During the spring and during the fall, in about 2 months each, is whenever it's kind of prime time for me, I've got to be able to do some stuff on the farm. Outside of that, I'm usually here about every day or across the state doing something as commissioner. And in the wintertime, I feed on my way to Frankfort in Jessamine County. We've got a farm up there that it's kind of on the way, so I'll feed whenever I go. And
Yeah, so just
Matthew, Madison, real quick, I was just thinking about that. This is the other part about what you were saying. I'm sorry, I get excited about this stuff, and you all ask
you're
such
okay.
good questions. Is is that when you said that you wanted your ag commissioner to still be on the farm and understand? I think most people would want that because it's hard for me to know the struggles that our rural farmers and our rural Kentuckians are going through if I'm not going through them too. When I was running for office, whenever I was a state representative, I used to talk about the struggle that I have. I'm a young family. I've got 4 kids, young kids, trying to find childcare in rural Kentucky, doing the things that you've got to do to be able to provide for your family, pay for your mortgage, try to start your life. If you're not going through those things, how are you ever going to understand it as well as you need to be able to make the policies around it? And so being a farmer myself, looking at the challenges that we have in agriculture and facing them daily, being out there when it's negative 10 degrees, trying to feed cattle on an open top tractor. I mean, it makes you humble yourself to know that we've got people that are struggling in this state and it's hard to make a living farming. And we've got to do everything we can to increase that profitability and make it easier for it to happen.
It's just like that President Eisenhower quote. I don't know if you're familiar with it. Farming looks mighty easy when you're 1,000 miles from the cornfield and your plow is a pencil.
Yep.
That's one of my favorite quotes. My ag teacher showed me that my freshman year. And so, like, what you were just saying, I think is like a full circle with that quote.
Yep.
And so you're able to fill that 1,000 miles.
Yeah, and just to add on a little bit more, back to you being humble, I think that sometimes when people like you hold really big roles, the community sort of forgets that you're human too and that you're living life every day just like them. And at night, you're going to lay your head down on the pillow and go to sleep just as they are. So it's really encouraging for myself and for our listeners to know that you're living a normal life with a family and on a farm just as everyone else. So, I'm tying it back to the farm and sort of you covered a little bit of the issues that you and others are facing right now, but what are some of the big ones that you're facing and how are you planning to solve those?
You know, uh, a lot of the big issues that are in agriculture today are not things that this office can specifically fix. And so when you think about the biggest issues that are facing us, it's inflation. It's a federal problem. They printed too much money during COVID. We've put so much money into our capital system that we have in America today that inflation is just rampant. And, $100 worth of groceries doesn't go very far as it did 5, 10 years ago. Another thing that's a huge issue that we've got in agriculture today, and it's specific to our grain markets, is what's happening in Brazil and Argentina, where they're increasing the amount of acreages and they're flooding the markets worldwide with corn and beans. And so that has lowered the prices here in America and in Kentucky around the basis of what we pay per, or what we get paid per bushel of corn and per bushel of beans. And so those are two of the big issues that we're going to see this year, especially affecting our on-farm receipts. We've been around $8 billion for the last 2 years, 3 years. And I'm a little bit worried about what those on-farms receipts are going to be because we're nearly at half of what we were previously on the corn market and bean market specifically. But other issues, Madison, that are somewhat specific to Kentucky that we have is a workforce, having workforce available on the farm, having people that can go there. I know the FFA Foundation has a great program that they started, FFA Works, to try and help get kids directly from high school into employment after high school if they don't go to college. And that's been a really great program. They've had great participation this first year. But workforce is always an issue. I talk to most of the farmers that I talk to say that if they could get enough help, they could double the amount of stuff that they're doing right now. And I'm the same way. If I knew that I was going to have the people that I needed to be able to raise 100 acres of pumpkins, I'd do it in a heartbeat. It's just, dealing with labor and getting the workforce that you need is extremely difficult. And then another huge issue that we are trying to work with Kentucky Farm Bureau and other partners, but they're the main ones that are the voice in doing this, is around farmland transition and the loss of farmland that we're having and the loss of farmers. And that's urban encroachment, it's subdivisions, it's industrial parks, it's solar projects. It's a lot of different things that are happening in rural communities that are taking away prime farmland. And we've got to do everything we can to protect that prime farmland. Matthew, you specifically coming from Barron County down there around that Bowling Green area. I mean, farmland has gotten so expensive anywhere near there. It's almost impossible to make money when you're farming ground that you had to pay $15,000-$20,000 an acre for, and that's what some of the prices are around there. And it's gotten in certain urbanish areas across the state to where that it's price prohibited for especially young people getting involved in the farming community today.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I've seen the land prices. You're 100% right. It's really hard, especially when Bowling Green just keeps growing and growing, and they just keep expanding out. So we've talked about some of the problems, and what are some of the victories that have happened so far with you being commissioner, or when you were in the House, because you were on the Ag Committee, I'm sure, right?
I was. And, I would say that since January, the biggest victory that we have is the foundation that we're laying for victories to come. Because what I told my team when I first got here was I don't want to just focus on certain goals and things to accomplish. I want to set up systems within inside of our department and the way that we do business, that whatever goal that you think about it as a funnel. The system is a funnel. And so whatever goal that you put in at the top, you're going to get a result out at the bottom. So we're trying to build systems to where that whenever we have issues, we find opportunities, we have challenges, that we can throw those in the top of that funnel and we get victories that come out. And I'll give you, for instance, is that we will do anything we possibly can to make sure that business is operating as efficiently and effectively as possible on the end user, specifically for processors in the state of Kentucky. And so we had an issue with a processor down in Western Kentucky that was processing livestock, and their water rates were extremely high, and they were at fear and worry about being shut down potentially because the corporate entity that owns them was looking at them pretty closely on a microscope. And so that would have been a lot of jobs lost, a lot of farmers losing revenues. A lot of things would have happened if a facility like that were to be shut down. And so we were fearful of that. So we stepped in and started having those conversations, communicating with local governments, communicating with local water districts, with the company itself, economic development cabinet, locally and state. And we were able to actually save them $7.5 million over the next 10 years and renewed their contract to help save them for the next generation of farmers that are going to be in that community. And so those are the types of things that when we have issues and we see them and we face them, that we try to find a system in order to put that in so that we can find the result that we want on the back end of it. But, not everything is as serious as that. I mean, that was a very serious issue that we were able to confront and fix. But we've got a lot of other victories that are small things on a daily basis that we're able to do. A farmer calls and has trouble getting a product to an international market, and they don't know what certification to put on the packaging, and we can do that as well. But what we are trying to do, Matthew, in a very serious way, is to try and put the systems together so that as we see problems, issues, and opportunities in all areas of agriculture, that we're able to fix them to the best of our ability.
It really is neat to see just how passionate you are about young farmers because, quite frankly, that is, the next generation to take over. We are the agricultural industry to some extent. So some people just aren't meant for the farm. Some people won't step on a farm. They won't work on a farm. Um, I would like to say that it's the sad truth, but people are different for a reason. We all have different skill sets for a reason. So to that person that won't step on a farm, that won't work on a farm, what do you have to say to them? How can they benefit the agricultural industry since they aren't, doing the dirty work, the hands-on work on the farm?
Oh, Madison, that is such a good question. And I love that question because my Deputy Ag Commissioner, Warren Beeler, which many of your listeners will know him, he's probably judged them at some competition somewheres if they've been in livestock or they've heard him speak. He always says that the thing that we need in agriculture is people. We have the best farmers in the world right now. We always need farmers, but we have the best. I mean, if we get new farmers, they're going to be the best farmers too. We've got amazing farmers that understand farming practices. What we need is everything else, Madison. We need geneticists. We need marketers. We need PR people. We need all the things that every other industry has. And there's so many opportunities in this now, especially for young people to get involved. When you think about any degree that you could get at a university anywhere in America, that degree could be used for agriculture in some way, whether you're going to be a brain surgeon or whether you're going to be uh, a marketer of some kind, international trade marketer, going on the stock exchange, whatever it is. We need people in agriculture that are focused on that, dedicated. Something that a lot of people don't think about is around law, having ag attorneys, ag lawyers that are looking at things like what we just talked about with that company, that processor, of looking at those contracts and seeing how they can be utilized for the benefit of agriculture and the benefit of farming. And then also looking at it, I have my general counsel here at the department is becoming a national leader around ag law, because she is pushing back against all this overburdensome regulation that's coming out of Washington, D.C. in so many ways and in so many areas. And we need people like her and others that are energetic and excited about agriculture, that they don't have to go get poop on their shoes. I mean, that's not something that they have to do to be in agriculture. You don't have to do that every day. You can be in agriculture and have an office job. You can be in agriculture and work from home. You can be in agriculture and do about anything you want to do, especially with the advances that we're having in technology around drones, around precision agriculture, around the mechanics and technicians that we have. Madison, that is an unbelievably perfect question for where we are today, especially with this generation that's coming out that may not understand agriculture as well. We're getting to where that we're so many generations removed from being on the farm. My guess is in Owen County, if you actually went and talked to all the FFA students that are there, 70% of them aren't on a farm anymore. And it's the case
Absolutely.
nearly around the state of Kentucky. And so those students and those kids still have an opportunity to be in agriculture, even though they may not be inheriting land passed down from farm to farm. There's still opportunities to be involved in agriculture every single day, no matter what you're going into.
I really agree with that. And your point kind of proves true because Mr. Beeler actually got to come to our grand opening for the greenhouse. We have our student opening today so that students can start working in there and getting their hands deep into the plant part of the agricultural industry, into the greenhouse and crop production. Um, I just, unbelievable points from you. I just love that.
Yeah, I mean, that was a perfect question and an amazing answer. I love it. And then to your point that maybe 30% still do live on a farm, I would say 5% want to continue to be full-time farmers. I mean, I bet that goes down even more as the years go by. Someone asked me the other day, I was recruiting for FFA, and I was like, you just have to get an ag class, the whole pitch. And they were like, but I don't want to be a farmer. I was like, maybe 5% of our members want to be a farmer, you know.
Yeah.
But
Well, the
there's a
population
large
in the
amount that's,
U.S. is 2%
yeah,
or less.
exactly. And so we're still trying to get that point across, and then also promote other pathways in agriculture. Like do want to go into ag law, so it's exciting to hear you say that we need them.
Oh, yeah. Bad. We need them desperate. I mean, seriously. We've got attorneys that are here that work on stuff every single day at the department. Ag attorneys also work at our farm credit lending agencies, all those kind of things. Every business, whether it's a Tyson, a JBS, whether it's whatever it is, we always need attorneys to have our backs and watch it. I know everybody is always like blood sucking attorneys, all that kind of stuff, and they get a bad rap sometimes, but we always don't like them until we need them. And so, we need good ag lawyers across the state of Kentucky that are helping defend and catch our backs.
I like it. So you're talking about how you have that team. When you got inaugurated, you put together a really, really good team in the Department of Ag. You went and got Brandon Reed, and you got all these people, and you've surrounded yourself with a great team. How much do you rely on them from a day-to-day basis?
Oh, it's immense. I mean, it is. They make it easy to be ag commissioner. That's the way I'll put it, because they know their jobs. They know what to do. I don't have to worry about them making a mistake. And if they do make a mistake, this is what I tell my people too. And I'd love for your listeners to understand this. I tell them every single day, I don't care if you make mistakes. We all make mistakes. We can fix mistakes, but do it going 1,000 miles an hour. I want you working hard for the people that we represent. Go 1,000 miles an hour and make the mistakes, because we can always fix them. But that's what we've put together in our team. And I'll tell you, Matthew, in Madison. So for my transition team, when we did take office, I actually had somebody from Barron County and Owen County on my campaign or on my transition team. So Steve Kelly was my co-chair of my transition from there in Owen County, Madison. You may know their family, Kyle Kelly with Farm Bureau, Steve Kelly, some
I
of them.
love Kyle Kelly.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
then
future
and
guests on
so
the
Kyle,
podcast, maybe.
yeah, Kyle's awesome. I love Kyle. He's the man. His dad is the man too, and he used to be the deputy ag commissioner here at the Department of Agriculture. He's one of my best friends. I tell people that he's one of my six. You know, if I died today, he'd be helping bury me. And then Jamie Bird, your all's judge executive down in Barron County, Matthew, was on my
Yeah,
transition team, and she is awesome. I love Jamie, and she did an
I love
amazing
her.
job helping represent local governments for our transition team and helping us get in the right spot. So, but that's the thing is that, like I told you earlier, I'm not the smartest, I'm not the most talented, but I can recognize good people and getting them in and letting them do their thing. I love unhandcuffing people to really work and do the jobs that they need to do. And that's really what I've tried to do as we got here to the department is go around, introduce myself, get to know all the employees. We have about 250 employees here. And I can call about every one of them by name. I mean, I have really tried to focus on building a relationship so that I know what their jobs are and how I can be helpful. But really just unhandcuffing them to be able to do the jobs for the people that we represent here at the Ag Department.
And I'm sure your employees really appreciate that you're making such an effort to be able to get to know them as people and not just employees.
Yeah.
And then I love Jamie. I'm actually her intern. So when we're done here, I go to my truck and I put on my polo, and then I go work in her office for a few hours a day. I co-op over there, so it's exciting. I love her.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. She's had a really interesting career. You know, she's been in so many things, done so many things, and then her private job, her private business that she has with the dance studios and all that kind of stuff. It's just she's just a really neat person. She's got a lot of different stuff that she's got her hands in, and I think that makes a great elected official for her, especially in Barron County, such a diverse community.
Oh yeah,
of her having such a diverse background. She does a great job. I love Jamie.
yes sir. We had the Ag Expo Center coming to Barron County. I'm sure you've heard of it a little bit from her, and so we're really excited. I get to work with that a little bit, following
Yep.
her around. People ask, they say, "What do you do?" I say, "Oh, I follow her around like a little dog." I just go everywhere because she's, her. She's go
Yeah,
go go
she
go.
is. Yeah, just soak it in,
She
man.
always.
I tell you
know.
the funny thing. My best story about Jamie is I went to the Barron County Fair this year with her, and we were down there doing something. She asked me to come over, and I got to go see catfish wrestling. Never seen that before in my life. And Barron County has catfish wrestling. And Jamie and I were
Yes.
just standing there with her husband Daniel and a couple of their friends. We were just watching these two guys wrestle each other to catch a catfish, and it was the funniest
Just
thing
going
I've ever
at
seen
it.
in my life.
Yes. It's awesome. Sorry. Yeah, I saw you at CPC field day. I sent her a picture. She just said, "Oh, tell Shelly boy I said hi." I was like, "Okay, I got you."
I love it. I
Oh,
love it.
yes, sir. Oh, well, we don't want to take too much of your time. We know you're a very busy person. Madison, any final questions?
I don't think so.
Well, I'd
Mr.
like to add one
Commissioner?
final comment
Yeah.
then, Matthew, if you don't care, is that, we had a couple of great FFA state officers who interned for us this past summer, Kimberlyn Price, Jackson Baird, and Caroline Groth. And I would just recommend that as you all get older, you get into college, you start looking for opportunities. This is a great place to intern here at the department. I try not to make you push papers all day. I'd send an email to them and say, "Hey, I'm getting ready to go to Owen County. Who wants to go?" Or I'm getting ready to go here. Who wants to go? And I'd have a carload of them just going with me. And I do this no holds barred. You can ask any question you want to. Just can't get offended whenever you get the answer, just that way they can get as much out of me as they want. And, I told them in our first meeting, I said, if you don't get enough of me, it's going to be your fault, because I wanted them to see this position in this office in such a way that you never know, they may want to work here one day. And I don't want them being bored to death sitting in an office somewheres, because it is exciting stuff that we get to work on. But I just wanted to make sure that I got to tell you all that as you all get older and your listeners get older and you get into college and you're looking for internships, as long as I'm here for the next 7.5 years, this is going to be a place that you want to be.
She had Caroline on 2 or 3 weeks ago, and she just talked about how much she loved her internship with y'all, and that you gave her so many great opportunities. So thank you for the opportunities that you're giving FFA members and future FFA members, not just FFA members, but agriculturalists across the state.
Yep.
All right. Anything else?
I don't think so. Just thank you so much for
Yes.
making the time for us. It's super exciting. We just started out and we already have the commissioner bag on. So we are just soaking it up and loving every minute. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. My ag teacher, he said, so what's end goal for y'all? Who do you want to get on the podcast before it ends? I was like, the commissioner, of course. And it's crazy that you're already on. We just started this in July. So we're really blessed that you were very, very approachable. And then as soon as State Fair ended, your team reached out and we got this planned, and it was just so easy. All your people are great people. Just thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
Yeah.
And then thank you for our listeners too. Our listeners are going to gain so much from this. Yes,
Good deal. And I love being with them too. And I can't wait, as we start to wind down harvest season coming up and we get into the winter months, of getting to be able to go around to the FFAs, and the end of year celebrations that you all have in the springtime are amazing too. I love going to schools, but Matthew and Madison, I'll offer this to you. If you all need more content for the podcast and you want to get Warren Beeler on, or you want to get Brandon Reed on, or some of the other employees of the department, I would say fill in with some other people first so that it's not just a Kentucky Department of Agriculture podcast, but we'll definitely make them available for you all if you want to have them come on. Because Brandon Reed was a state FFA officer, and, Beeler, he was involved in FFA and one of the most inspiring people that I'm able to be around. So as you all need content, just reach back out to our people and we'll try to get you hooked up.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you to our listeners for listening again. We're trying to get y'all the brightest and the best of Kentucky agriculture, just like the commissioner. I don't know if we'll be able to top him for a while, but we'll have other people that maybe compare a little bit. So thank y'all. Madison, any final comments?
I don't think so.
Okay, I guess we'll end it here then. See y'all.
We're having an all-night revival. Some will call the women and some will steal the Bible. For the sake of my survival, baptize me in a bottle of beer.